Hi, good morning. Hi.
Good morning. Nice to meet you, Representative.
How are you?
I'm good.
Great to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you. And this is Vinny.
Very nice to meet you.
He's the troublemaker here. So
I thought I was the troublemaker.
I'm sorry. Well, no, we know you are. We know you are. But it's great to have you. So I got a question for you. You know, we watch you to see how much ruckus and chaos you create sometimes. Why do you ask such a technical question from, the former VP candidate, Tim Walz? I want to start off with this, if you don't mind, because this is an offensive question. I mean, you can ask some subtle questions, but Rob, if you can play this, the audience is deeply concerned about your question. Go ahead, Rob.
On PBD podcast, host Pat breaks down explosive politics with South Carolina Representative Nancy Mace. She unloads on corruption in her state's justice system and defends conservative values amid fierce opposition. Meanwhile, tensions rise over Iran's nuclear ambitions and the U.S. role. This segment exposes raw truth and unfiltered conflict. Let's break this down.
What is a woman? What is a woman is the question.
I'm not sure I understand the question here.
Well, that.
What do you want me to say?
I want you to say that a woman like me is an adult human female, that men can't become women. You guys are the party of violence, and you're the party erasing women. You don't respect us. You're a bigot. You're a misogynist. You're a sexist. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
I was trying to listen carefully, and I had played it back a couple times, but you sounded upset.
What happened?
If I sounded pissed off, it's because I was. No, it's just like he just ended his presidential career. I mean, there is no 2028 for Tim Walz. I buried him that day. No,
Nancy Mace brutally calls out political weakness and the failure to defend basic truths, signaling a no-nonsense approach few politicians dare to voice.
Of all these witnesses, these people that come to these big committees before Congress, they testify under oath. It's very, very public, and they spend millions of dollars to prepare for these hearings, for the toughest questions. What they're not ready for are for the dumbest questions, the most simple, most common sense questions. And so this is just a thing I've taken up on. I just ask Democrats when they come before me, what's a woman? And they just cannot answer
Who's
the
answered
question.
it? Who have you noticed that is actually willing to be reasonable and give the answer?
Nobody.
Are you serious?
No, I'm dead serious. And so he sat there and I was like, are you effing kidding me? Like, he just deer in the headlights. Like, you were a heartbeat away from becoming the vice president of the United States of America.
That's scary.
And you can't define a woman. And if you can't define a woman, then you definitely can't define our rights as women. You definitely can't protect us as women. You can't protect our daughters. You can't protect me. I have no faith or confidence in you. And so for me, like, looking forward to 2028 and the next, what's post-Trump, which I think is going to continue to be MAGA, but like the common sense that Trump brings to the table, we are showcasing these people for being crazy. But here's this guy. I emasculated him so badly over the question. He's like, what do you want me to say?
Did he talk to you afterwards? Like, was there a moment where you guys talked afterwards, or no?
No. I mean, I embarrassed him. Was there, like, he got completely emasculated, something I enjoy doing, by the way. I'll try not to do it here today.
You enjoy doing that?
I love it. Yeah, I just, because they're not ready for the common sense question.
Yeah.
They're not ready for the simple questions. And when he just sat there when he had no answer, and then he didn't understand the question, and then he said, what do you want me to say? And I'm like, oh my God, you're never going to be president. You will not be running in 2028. You're done.
Well, I don't know whether, it was because of that question or not, if he would ever be president, because the way he handled himself in the debate with J.D. Vance, that was that's probably the worst debate performance I've ever seen, aside from Joe Biden's debate with the president, the first one where within the first 30 seconds, you're like, this is not good. Remember how uncomfortable it was?
He said he was a knucklehead.
No, I'm not even talking about Tim Walz. I'm talking about Joe Biden against Trump, the first debate, where it was disturbing to watch it. So
the summer.
So Nancy, question for you. High school. Who were you in high school? Were you always feisty? Were you always like this?
I would say I was a pretty normal kid. I mean, I struggled with things like I failed biology one time, but I dropped out of high school. So I when I was a junior, my third year, I dropped out of high school. My dad's a retired general. My mom was one of my school teachers at my high school. And they said, if you're going to stop going to school, you got to start going to work. So I picked up a job as a waitress at a Waffle House on the side of the interstate back in 1995. That's where I got my start.
This is in Carolina?
South Carolina.
Wow, I lived in Columbia for 9 months when I was at Fort Jackson.
I was going to say, what were you there
First time I went to a Waffle House was in South Carolina.
Uh-huh.
They,
It's the
a lot-
best.
they hadn't seen people who look like me in South
That's
Carolina.
okay. They serve everybody, and it's the best cup of coffee you can get for $2.
Yeah.
There was no inflation at Waffle House.
Oh, we went
You can
hundreds
still
of
afford
times.
to go
I
there.
love it.
So Waffle House. So General, did Dad teach the toughness when you're raised by a general? Is the visualization of a father like that is everything's organized, top notch, high pressure, high
I
expectation?
would say he was tough as nails, and I probably where I get my attitude from, and my just don't give a you know what. But when I eventually would get my high school diploma, I would go to the Citadel. That place toughened me up. I mean, when you're getting a face full of mud and they're telling you to do 100 push-ups more, I mean, you just don't care if you have friends in Washington or not. When you're sitting in the barber's chair and they're cutting your hair to where you have like an inch on top, getting screamed at and everything, there's nothing else to lose. Like, that's what has hardened me for Congress, because Congress is not for the weary. If you want to be effective running for office these days, you might get shot. So it's a very very violent environment right now. And I mean, people are always throwing phones in your faces, recording you, cursing you out, yelling at you a lot of times. And so and when you have very powerful people who've come after me, spending millions of dollars to try to get me unelected, and I win by record numbers, you got to be tough for that, to be able to do that.
When are you planning on being a little bit more competitive? Like when do you think that fire is going to show up? Because we've been waiting for it.
You've been waiting for
We've
it.
been waiting
I was
for it.
born. I came out of the womb breathing fire,
no,
walking on coals.
I kind of see it. I believe
Yeah.
it. So let's go to this other one. You had a clip here because there is the Nancy Mace, the greatest hits. Rob, there's one where you wanted to say this word over and over and over and over again. Watch this one here.
Yeah.
Just a beautiful setting here, folks. Watch this. Go for it.
The gentlelady has used a phrase that is considered a slur in the LGBTQ community and the transgender community. And let me please finish without interruption. And
Tranny. I don't really care. You want penises in women's bathrooms, and I'm not going to have it.
Okay.
No, thank you.
let Chairman.
This fiery declaration against radical gender policies exposes the deep cultural wars America faces and Mace's unapologetic defense of women's rights.
Disgusting.
Let the gentleman state his parliamentary inquiry.
How does a basic common sense issue like this, how do they keep fighting this? Like, don't they realize most of America, including Democrats, are not for this, but they keep pushing it?
They're tripling down for 0.5%, which, if you just read yesterday, the Democrat National Committee is broke. And they are losing donors left and right. And I think it's because they are doubling down on issues that average people, average Americans, average Democrats don't agree with. I don't know anyone in their right mind that would allow a fully intacted male to undress next to their 12-year-old daughter in a locker room or shower next to her. That is just not a normal thing. And that's what the tranny movement, that's what this has become. It's like grooming, it's sexual, it's a fetish. And they are the party of violence, and they're party of pedophiles, the party of grooming and all those things. And it's now mainstream. And it's, I'm a girl mom and I'm a woman, and I'm very supportive. I voted for gay marriage, and I would do it again. I believe in freedom. Like, as a Republican, as a conservative, the government shouldn't tell you who to marry, right? I don't want them in your boardroom or in your bedroom. That's the libertarian in me. But now this thing has gotten so far, our rights are being erased. Women's rights, I think gay rights too. The trannies have taken over, and for what? Your mental illness? Like, I'm not participating in your mental health crisis. Go talk to a therapist, and don't find yourself in my private space, because you're going to be quickly escorted or dragged on out.
How in the world of the world you're in, Congress, like when you're in financial services, you're selling, you use your charm, your charisma, your looks, whatever you have, you use to try to get things done, right? How often is it folks on the opposite side that disagree with you are super flirtatious with you? How often is it when there's policies going on and they come back and they try to, where you're able to win them over with looks, with charm and charisma? How often does that happen?
Not often. I mean, it happens occasionally, but not often. I mean, we've dug our heels in. It's very partisan right now. It's more partisan than it's ever been. And I've done a lot of nonpartisan stuff, particularly on like technology and cybersecurity and everything, where I get all Democrats and all Republicans to vote for it. But I've never seen it the way that it is right now. I mean, it's
How
really.
long have you been in?
I'm 4 years. I mean, it's gotten worse since
Even in
I've.
the 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, Jasmine Crockett. Wow, like that lady. That woman's off the rails.
You guys don't hang out on the weekends? Like
Oh, hell no. I mean, no, that would not be a good situation. We'll just put it that way.
You guys.
Yeah,
You guys run into each other when you do. Is there any conversation
not
or
with
nothing?
her. I mean, I when I first came in, I tried to give people the benefit of the doubt and talk to them, but they've just gone so far off the rails. I won't have a conversation with AOC. I won't talk to Rashida Tlaib. I won't talk to Jasmine Crockett, and I will not be friends unless she can get her shit together and be a normal human. The last time I really heard from her in a hearing, she was telling me as a rape survivor that my fear was fake, that I shouldn't have fear of men in private spaces as a rape survivor. And I lost my shit, and I told her we would take it outside. That's how angry it made me. So I have very little patience for any kind of BS right now. Just none, zero, because our country is on the precipice really of going one direction or the other. And I'm following Donald Trump to the end of the earth to make sure we get back to where our country used to be.
What clip is this, Rob, that you got here?
Oh, that's that one.
Let's see this one.
Are struggling right now, so she gonna keep saying trans, so that people will feel threatened. And listen, I want y'all
I
to
am
tell
no
me
child.
whether or
Do
not
call me a child. I am no child.
I want
Don't
to
even
find
start.
out
I am a grown
which
woman.
of those
I am 47 years
emails
old. I have broken
actually
more
have.
glass ceilings than you
Chairman,
ever
I
Order,
am
please.
reclaiming my
Let's go.
time.
You will not do that.
Order.
I am not a
Chairman,
child.
I am reclaiming my time.
If you want to take it outside,
Mr. Chairman, the committee is not.
Okay.
Oh, I love it. Oh, I love it.
No kidding.
And they
Mr.
all
Chairman.
lost their minds. They're like, "What is she threatening a sitting member?" It's like,
But it's
shut
a
up.
broken playbook that that the consequence at the end of the playbook is increased lunacy and
Yes.
partisanship. Because the playbook is simple from the Democrat side. Step one, find a victim or invent one. Step two, be seen as the voice of the victim, and then try to win the empathy voters of everybody that says, look how noble those Democrats are, what they're doing for this victim. But they're inventing a victim. And then what they have to do is once you've invented the victim, you have to actually construct something of an argument that gets more loony the deeper you go
Yes.
into victims that aren't victims in what you've invented, to the point where, you look. And then CNN, you see Harry Enton on CNN, he reads all the stats. He even says, look, on Hispanics have gone this way and the African Americans have gone this way. They're losing their grip on yesterday's victims, so they have to invent tomorrow's victims. And then you have to go with down-home language like that and be actually not very, she didn't look very mature, Crockett does, to just make an elegant point in the halls of the legislature. And so it looks more loony. And guess what? Then tomorrow, now we got to find a different victim, and we got to even go weirder, and we go wider.
Well, let's add one more step to that, because now in the last 2 weeks, it's get arrested and get elected. That's what they're doing.
Yep.
That's what Democrats are doing.
Well, be seen as the voice of the victim,
Yeah.
and now get arrested
Assault
for it.
people and get arrested and get out of jail free card, and that'll get them elected. I think this is a failing plan. People see it. It's crazy. They're lunatics.
Tommy, so just to make sure we get on the record, you're saying you're not going to support Jasmine Crockett in 2028. That's what you're saying. I just want to make sure.
She does not have your.
I'm at 22.6% and dropping by the minute.
Right. Okay. Got it. So I want to read you a story with Ilhan Omar.
I'm
okay?
sorry, that was negative 22.
Yeah. So we got Ilhan Omar, who is somebody you hang out with a lot in the building you're in.
Her office is next door to mine.
Is it literally? Is it literally?
I have
So
to
you
walk
guys
by
see
it.
each other regularly.
I walk by it every day when I'm up there.
Wow. So Ilhan Omar claims U.S. is turning into one of the worst countries in the world. I don't know if you heard about this or not. So far left Representative Ilhan Omar stated in an interview on Democracy Now! YouTube page, published Friday, I mean, I grew up in a dictatorship, and I don't even remember ever witnessing anything like that. To have a democracy beacon of hope for the world to now be turned into one of the worst countries where the military are now in the streets without any regard to the people's constitutional rights. So is this the clip, Rob?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead and play the clip on what she's talking about.
To be coming out of our country. I mean, I grew up in a dictatorship. And I don't even remember ever witnessing anything like that. To have a democracy, a beacon of hope for the world to now be turned into one of the worst countries where the military are in our streets without any regard for people's constitutional rights, while our president is spending millions of dollars propping himself up like a failed dictator with a military parade. It is really shocking, and it should be a wake-up call for all Americans to say this is not the country we were born in. This is not the country we believe in. This is not the country our founding fathers imagined. And this is not the country that is supported by our Constitution, our ideals, our values. And we should.
Mace slams hypocrisy in political elites and issues a stark warning about America's current path versus its founding principles, igniting urgent debate about national identity.
There should be a limit for her. So what do you think about what she just said?
Well, I mean, this isn't the country she was born in. As my first thought, she just talked about that. But when she's saying she hates, it's the fact. But she's saying she hates the military. So to our men and women in uniform, number one, I want to say that's just un-American. We support our military. The parade was one of the greatest things I've seen in my lifetime. But quite frankly, I'm fine with putting on our one-way flight back to Somalia. You don't like it here? You think it's so bad? You have a dictator as a president who, by the way, loves freedom and loves the Constitution, loves democracy, and he's protecting it every single day. She can just go back to Somalia.
Question for you.
Don't forget her brother. They're particularly
they can go together.
Where I'm going with that is,
and the new husband.
How much is there a conversation behind closed doors? Because if anybody would know, you guys would know. Mm-hmm. Did she really marry her brother? There is yes, no's, all these things that
I wasn't in Congress when that went down. I am not sure. But I know I know it's the rumor out there, but I've never weighed in on it.
And I just saw, and just recently the marriage certificate was online and it says his name, but people are like, yeah, but that's not her brother, but it's kind of looks like it allegedly would be her brother.
On the marriage certificate.
It's kind of weird. But you know what they call her brother? She's in Minnesota's 5th district? In Minnesota. Like, is anything positive coming out of there from the Tim Walz to her? Brother, they call it Little Mogadishu. They call, like, the amount of people that have been in trouble or on the terror watch list in that area, that's not pro-American. Trust me. And if she had it her way, it'd be freaking Sharia. They call it Shariaville. That's what they call that. Mm-hmm. If you let people like that take over and run the show, that's what the shit is going to become. And if you don't like this place, it is so easy. All you have to do, you could go to Orbitz, get a flight, and get the out of here.
I've seen parades in her district, and they don't have the American flag.
No, they have
They got the Somalian flags.
Yeah.
And it's not.
Did you say they don't have American flags?
When they have parades and do all their stuff, protests.
I don't think they would have a lot of American flags.
Not in her district. No, they're all flying the Somalian flag, and it's not Somalia. This is the United States of America. You don't like it, you can leave.
Yep, bingo.
Yeah, and here's a question though that I got for you. So. You know how California or New York or Illinois, these guys try to turn Texas blue, right? So they would send people there to start working on a plan to turn Texas blue. They're long-term thinkers. It'll be a 10,
like the
20,
Chinese.
Exactly.
CCP.
So they're like, let's turn Texas blue. Let's turn Florida blue. Florida turned more Republican because of everything that happened during COVID. Is there any suspicion of how long-term they're thinking? Where, there's this discussion about the guy, whether he was from ISIS or one of these Hezbollahs, where he said, the difference between us and you is you guys have expensive watches where you can, you brag about how much, your watch is. We have all the time in the world. We will wait 10, 20, 30 years to seek vengeance on you, right? Do you guys, amongst the community, when you talk to each other, sense that there's a strategy to move different Ilhan Omars in different cities to go into political, become congressmen, to have more control in cities so they can gradually spread this ideology amongst different cities and states?
It's not at the congressional level. It's definitely at the local level. Look at that guy who's running from, the local mayoral races, school board races, municipal races, city council races, and where they are turning those city councils like neon blue. They're trying to get illegals to vote in their elections. Look at the guy who's running for mayor in New York. I can't say his name, but that socialist guy or whatever that AOC is supporting. But they do it differently. We're always top down as Republicans thinking about the biggest office and then on down. But we have forgotten bottom up, which is where they have succeeded. And they've put these commies, these socialists, these people that are crazy and un-American at the lower level of.
Nancy Mace reveals systemic corruption in South Carolina's justice system and exposes the erosion of American values at the highest levels. Her fierce stance against radical policies and political gamesmanship underlines the stakes for conservatives and patriots as Iran's threat looms. Mace's unapologetic truth-telling offers clarity amid chaos. This is a powerful call to action for accountability and patriotism. Drop your take below. What do you think about corruption and the nuclear crisis?